Hello and welcome to your Four Lads press conference coverage. The player today was Olwethu Makhanya, and it was a really interesting insight into him as a bit of a person and a player. I think first up, he was asked about making his debut, etc., and it became very, very clear that he's bought into the message that winning is everything at Rangers. He said he was really, really happy to make his debut, but absolutely disappointed that they didn't get that win, and very clear that the message across the whole squad and from the management team is that they just need to find a way to do that. Obviously a big family man, made a point of that in saying that any decisions that he makes, he always consults them, and when he moved from South Africa to the MLS and from MLS to Rangers, they were involved in that decision. But one of the massive things was that actually the club presented a really clear plan for him, both from a kind of perspective of how they wanted to play and what they wanted to do, but more importantly for him personally about how they could help him develop. And he said that that was the type of environment that appealed to him, and the manager played a big part in that recruitment as well, because it was him that set some clear expectations around what was going to be required of Makhanya, but also how much of an important player that he'd become at the club. And both those things were what sparked real interest in that move for Makhanya. He did speak about his experiences in the MLS. It wasn't all plain sailing for him there. He admits himself that he really struggled for game time that first season when he moved across. But actually, he views that hard period as a bit of preparation for what came next. And he credits the MLS experience for making him a better player, both the good and bad points of that. Now, he's fully aware that tomorrow night it's all about winning. Mentions that Europa League group stage is kind of crucial for the players and the club's ambitions. One of the things that he kind of mentioned with a little bit of a smile that I thought was interesting, he knew the fan expectation was going to be high compared to his time in the MLS, but actually it's been even higher than he anticipated. And it's one of those things where most players that come here will kind of feel like they've got an understanding, but until they pull that blue jersey on, they've really got no idea what it means to represent this club. One little bit that I thought was really interesting, you'll hear him say it in the press conference, is that he says that winning is not everything, it's the only thing at a club like Rangers, and that's certainly something that's been driven into him by the manager and the players that know the club. So hopefully he can play a part in getting us over the line tomorrow night against Jagiellonia, and putting us through the tie. But certainly the proverbial, he spoke very well. I hope you enjoy the press conference.
What were your first impressions of Rangers and Scottish football being there?
Obviously, walking in such a big club, so many expectations, good level, good quality all around. Been good so far.
How did you find the weekend going in quite quickly after arriving?
Yeah, I'm happy obviously about my debut, but of course not happy with the results. Feel like Ibrox is a special place to make the debut, in front of all our fans. And I also feel like even though we didn't win the game, I feel like there's a lot of positives that we can take for the game moving forward.
That's like a bittersweet feeling where you're pleased personally and you've had a lot of praise for your performance, but it comes on another difficult day for the team, for the collective.
Yeah, like I'm saying, I'm happy with the debut, but disappointed with the results. So we just have to find ways to win.
Can you tell us a little bit about the move and why you decided that Rangers was the right next step for you?
I feel like the conversation that we had, with the club, the plan that we had, with my agent, everyone felt as if, this is a good environment, for me to, come in and develop and just, keep on, growing as a player.
What were your conversations like with the manager, and why did he help convince you to make the step here?
Yeah, just coming in, explaining to me that coming here I would be, an important player, in the back line, understanding that, there's the certain expectations and all that. So that conversation just kind of got me really interested to join the club.
Well, can you tell us about your experiences in MLS and how did that prepare you for?
At first when I moved into the MLS, my first season was really difficult, struggling to get game time, but I feel like that hard moment or that phase, prepared me for the future. So as time went on, I started, growing as a player, learning from all the experiences. And I feel like because of the hard and good times I had in MLS, I'm a much better player now.
Had some pretty incredible experiences from some top players. I think I saw you and Lionel Messi having a wee sort of head to head at one point. I mean, what was that experience like for you? How do you think that has helped improve you as a player?
I mean, for me, it was unbelievable experience. Because everyone growing up, we look up to Messi as one of the greatest to ever play the game. So I never at any point in my life thought I share a field with him. So I feel like that was a really good experience. And encouraged me to just keep on going because you can never know what can happen.
Well, out with your agent and your family, did you speak to for deciding to move to England? Does anyone else in the game, either in America or over here?
Yeah, of course, such things I like to discuss, with my family, and present the opportunity that in front of me. And they're always there to support me. I told them how I feel about the opportunity and, they will always support me.
And what have you learned or what have you been told about the standard here compared to where you've come from?
Coming into the club, the first thing that I was told is that, winning is not everything. It's just the only thing expected. So to me, that just shows, how high the quality is, all the expectations within the club.
Someone who relishes that sort of pressure.
Yeah, of course, everyone works hard and we all want to win games.
Yeah. And European match tomorrow night, what the players or anyone else told you here about European nights at Ibrox in terms of atmosphere and the occasion?
Yeah, I mean, they've told me, about all the expectations, and there's a lot of belief, within the group, and everyone understands, what's at stake tomorrow. So yeah.
Just talking about that, how crucial have you been told it is that the team do progress in this and get into the group stage of Europa League?
Yeah, like I'm saying, it's very important, for us to win the game tomorrow, and they've obviously, communicated the importance of how the game is and what's at stake, as like a game that we need to win, in order to progress in the tournament.
Mentioned expectation quite a few times. I think it was the second word you said right at the start of the interview. And how surprised are you at the high level of expectation amongst the fans, even though you've seen a full Ibrox?
Yeah, I mean, expectations are really high. I won't lie. I was expecting, the fans to have like expectations on us as players and as a club, but yeah, like they're really high, and yeah, we just gotta keep doing the job.
Last one, Andy, please. When you were growing up, was European football, was that always an ambition for you to play in Europe and gesture against the rest?
Yeah, of course, it's always been part of the dream, since I was playing back home. It's a thing, even when I moved to the MLS, it's a thing that, we communicated with my agent that, maybe if we make a move to the MLS, it would give us the right exposure to Europe.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Four Lads Rangers podcast is proudly sponsored by Candid, LBJ Consultants, CBD Oil Scotland, Elite Scooters Scotland, and Metaclad, Four Lads' exclusive roofing partner. The Aesthetics Lounge by Sharon, Denhay, the quintessential British bacon. Thank you to all our sponsors, and in partnership with Black Rooster, Art of Gold, and Rangers Youth Development Company. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.